How we going, guys? Welcome back. And I have myself just got donated this today by a neighbour. I have a Ryobi cordless miter saw. It's only a little one. It's only 18 volt. When I asked him if it still worked, he said it technically did, but he said it was very, very weak. Now, 18 volts. Yeah, look, I'd say being an 18 volt one, with the Ryobi, they are a little bit light on. They're very, very light duty. You'd be doing maybe beading or cutting beading or something like that, like really, really small or thin material, timber material. I mean, you could always use something like this for aluminium and just run it into the ground, but until it, the blade died, you could always, like use it as a disposable tool. But realistically, if you're going to invest in something, it's a cordless. It's the batteries that really count, and the batteries here are a little bit light on. I personally run a lot of the 20 volt Affinity brand, which is the Audi brand, and I have a lot of success with those. However, I've got a little miter saw. Circular saw. I've got a little circular saw that I carry around with me sometimes, and it does the job really, really well. But gets stuck, gets stopped quite often. But that's probably a good thing, because it doesn't get out of control and hurt me. All right, so getting on to this, I'm going to pull this one apart. It's a bit of a shame in a way to pull something like this apart, because it's still in quite good nick. It's seen garage duty only, like someone's carport or garage. Hasn't seen a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it is realistically, it's more about the learning process for both myself and all you guys about what's in each item. So this is the one I've chosen to sacrifice for the e-waste autopsy tonight, or the teardown, whichever we want to call it. There's going to be quite a bit of aluminium. Like, there's very, very strong aluminium base here, so there's going to be quite a bit of aluminium scrap. And I think you'll find that the motor, I don't know, 18 volt Ryobi, sort of bottom dollar when it came to cordless miter saws. I'm thinking it's I don't know. All right, I'll call it. I'll say that it's probably not copper. I'd say that it's aluminium on the actual rotor, and the stator, I reckon, will be copper. Sorry, aluminium, but there we go. I called it now, and let's prove myself wrong, hopefully, and then I'll get more copper. All right, so it is a CMS180G. That'd be for cordless miter saw. 180 would probably be maybe 18 volts or 180 mil blade. Not sure how they work it. 2016, it's not that old. And G, I'm not sure what the G is for. Maybe general purpose, I don't know. Or maybe that's just man, it's got type 2 under there, so there's probably had a few model changes. All right, so I'm going to get into this one and see what I can find. All right, I'll be back in a moment, guys. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the sawdust and the sawdust catcher. Okay, looks like just a nice Hessian, or maybe not Hessian, but a very loose weave type of cotton bag. Very, very simple to get off. There's like a little spring clip here. Now, guys, be very careful when you're working with sawdust, because I found out many, many years ago that all sawdust causes cancer. Yes, all sawdust. Doesn't have to be from MDF or anything like that. Any type of wood sawdust and can actually cause you cancer, apparently. It's all carcinogenic. I believe that chippies who sit there all day and use a miter saw on the pine timber thinking they're okay, well, they have a very high rate of nose, mouth, tongue and throat cancer, unfortunately. So yeah, look, it's probably going to come out in the years later on, but yeah, any sort of sawdust, you should have a sawdust room, or you should have some sort of catchment line. This is a very, very basic one, but look, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be using sawdust around kids or grandkids. It's just, don't give them excuse me, don't give them a little bit of a handicap to life straight off the bat. Avoid, you wouldn't put them around asbestos, you wouldn't put them around concrete dust, so don't put them around sawdust either. All right, now, one thing I do like about this is Okay, this is, you get a generic basic, I believe it's 5mm Allen key, and this one's got a little, it's a handy little Phillips head screwdriver bit, or is it, yeah, Phillips head, or is that, hang on, let's see if I can focus the thing. All right, hey, there we go. I don't even know if, no, you wouldn't call that posi drive, would you? Anyway, but yeah, Phillips head or cross star bit, whatever you want to call it. Handy little tool that just goes into the miscellaneous little tray of tools, and I'll be using that. Actually, I might end up using that for dismantling this, because there's actually a few Allen keys, and of course, you know, if you use the tool that came with the piece of equipment, then, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, whoa, yeah, she's tight. I might actually get something bigger on that. All right, I'm going to start pulling down and showing you bit by bit what's in it. All right, guys, that was really hard to get apart, but I managed to do it without breaking anything. I ended up going and getting an older, longer style 5mm, and then even with that, just to crack the actual seal on that, I had to use a length of steel pipe onto this just to get enough leverage just to get the first little crack. I mean, obviously once it opens up, it's, yeah, not a problem. All right, so on doing that, I shall start taking this base apart and start getting into the good heavy aluminium. All right, now there's going to be a time when I'm going to have to separate the motor and motor arm from the actual base, and that's going to require some sort of drift or punch to be able to push that pin. That it's like a tube, but it's actually, yeah, it's a retaining pin, I guess you'd call it. Just yeah, basically the arm goes on that, and that's going to have to get pushed out. But yeah, I'll do that shortly. Yeah, I'm going to try and take as much of this base apart and then maybe weigh it for you. Okay, so after getting the back section off, which is, I don't know what you call that, the guide, safety wall, whatever you want to call it, backstop, I've turned it upside down, and okay, once you get this handle out, there's 3 screws, 2 in here, all Phillips head so far. So most of the encounters so far in this territory have been Phillips head, almost all of them, and 5mm so far. Although there's going to be some worm screws in here that might have something to do with that there. But she's actually a hollow frame. She's not a solid all the way through. Still a fair bit of weight in it, and yeah, I'll see where I'm going to go to next. Okay, so there were a couple of worm screws, or we used to call them grub screws because they go all the way through. That's what they look like, quite heavy duty little ones. Like I said, Phillips head. Then this here, the pivotal point where the base pivots on the arm, that's yeah, that's a 5mm Allen key again. Okay, 14mm bolt and 14mm nut. The nut's actually stuck in a recess, so you don't have to worry about that turning. So I just used a little, not a bad little tool I got off Temu, actually. Anyway, that's 12, 14 and 17. Comes in really handy. It was a little bit loose in the 14, so I don't know whether it was the low quality tool or the low quality of that, or I don't think it's Imperial. I'm pretty sure everything here is metric. All right, but it was a tiny tad loose. Now, when you actually pull that off, you'll notice that, okay, where is it? There's a little tiny spot here. When you click it into, like when you're actually centering it, when you're aligning it to 90 degrees, it clicks into place, and you can feel it a little, like a little mechanical give. And what that is simply you've got a ball bearing on a spring. Very simple design, but yeah, quite effective. So if somebody's actually got one of these and it's turning but it's not clicking in, it might be that the ball bearing somehow popped out, worked its way loose. Okay, so on the base here, there are where it actually slides around, there's a nice clean surface there, but there's actually what looks like plastic feet or little little protectors that actually slides on. So once I take that off and once I have a look around for a bit more steel, I don't think there's much steel in here, I'll just give that away and we'll see how we go. All right. Okay, so the 3 parts of the base, once we've taken all the steel out, they come in at just a smidge under 2.5 kilo. So that's a bit over £5 for you guys over the other side of the drink. All right, now there's still a little bit of aluminium. The arm itself is aluminium, and it's all cast aluminium, guys. It's really, really nice cast aluminium, but it is actually cast aluminium, so that it's a slightly less price for scrapping. But so far we're looking about, well, maybe with this, maybe $6 worth of scrap. So that alone, but it's worth picking up for just that. There's still quite a bit more to go on this. Now I'm going to try and work out how to stop the blade turning so I can take the retaining bolt out. 5mm, by the way, again, Allen key. Right, once again, I managed to work it out without the instructions. Something that us blokes tend to be really good or really bad at, depending on who you ask. All right, so there is a little button here, and once you push that button in, you can actually lock the blade into. There we go. It's like oh, come on, don't. Okay, interesting. Oh, that's because I've already undone it. Okay, so that's where you actually from the underside. So where the handle is, Ryobi sign, just from the R, it's in there. Little safety one. That means you can change the blade over. Simple if you know how to do it. Just a matter of finding where it is. And yeah, this one, guys, it's opposite. So what do you call it? Right-handed thread, or yeah, basically we go clockwise to undo it. So it's yeah, back to fronty. It's yeah, southpaw, whatever you want to call him. All right. So yep, going that way. Hey, okay. What happens when you do it one-handed? So yep, as you can see, it's back to front. All right, so that'll go in my little pot for later. Okay, so then leaves us with saw blade. Now these saw blades, it's a Ryobi saw blade. It probably came with the actual unit. It's not going to be the highest quality, but it's going to be decent enough quality. Now, what I've seen with these, I actually like watching YouTube for ideas, and some of the manufacturing companies, like very, very small workshops in India, come up with some amazing things. And I actually have seen a guy actually cut these off, like cut down here, so you've got like a strand of steel here, weld that onto another bit, and use these little tungsten teeth for cutting blades for his lathe. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting this aside for reuse. However, if it ends up that I don't have the right size, or if it gets trashed, yeah, they're probably going to make cutting tools for the lathe. Don't know how long they last, but considering that they're free of money, cost-wise, just need a little bit of time and effort, then yeah, I'm pretty keen when I get into get up and running with the lathe. Pretty keen to make as much of my own tools as possible. All right, now need to get this shroud and arm off. All right, we'll see how we go. Okay, so trying to pull apart the plastic casing. I'm just basically pulling apart filler pad screws where I can find them. Finally got some here. The main isolation switch or power switch, it's actually a fairly basic little one, generic by the looks of it. Yeah, oh no, here we go. Oh, transmit, there you go. I haven't heard of them before, but yeah, they've probably got a contract with Ryobi, so that one will fit probably quite a few Ryobi tools, so that's definitely going to the pull room. All right, now this one here, other than that, which was just a nice little plastic clips to get it down. All right, might have to go get that bit of plastic later to get the to get these stickers off. All right, the trigger mechanisms, you know what, this is actually quite a good one. I've seen a lot of tools with very, very tiny little trigger mechanisms and they break or get stuck, but this one here, decent spring on it too. Yeah, that's quite a solid little piece, and little bit of supporting supporting bar in there. Yeah, look, I'm quite happy with that one. That's actually not going to fall apart on you, not easily anyway. But then again, this unit's in very good condition. It's had a lot, like I said, bit of garage usage. Probably spent a lot of its time on the shelf in the garage. It's not a lot of dust or anything in there, or grime. Okay, so we got the little switches. Oh, hang on, that's actually quite decent wiring. I'm a bit impressed with that. That there is, oh, by the way, that was the that was where the trigger went onto. So yeah, so even though you had the main switch was the first one I pulled out, then you also had that was the trigger one. Not bad at all. There's the contacts where the battery was inserted, and you got to say it's a nice thick bit of wire. It's a bit stiff, so I'm going to say it's probably not aluminium. I'd say it's probably copper in that. I'd have to say that's actually simple, but very strong and basic. It's not really going to fall apart. I've seen some pretty intricate designs with lots of fancy wires everywhere, and yeah, they tend to get a bit messy. But this one would be an easy repair if you ever wanted to repair it. Okay, now I'm going to get the rest of this off. All right, so managed to rather than take the arm off the motor, I end up taking the motor off the arm. I know it's no, it sounds a bit silly, but yeah, just the order we're doing things just makes it just seems easier. So once we get the final shroud off, the final bit of casing off, one thing I found was that it's a decent looking 18 volt motor, quite a decent one, and I dare say that something like this, it might be very, very similar setup to, say, the 18 volt lawnmowers that they have. I personally run a 36 volt. It just got a bit more grunt to it. The 18 volts I find would be a little bit light on for mowing a lawn, unless you've got a very, very small patch of lawn. Now, the 4 retaining screws for these, Phillips head, but what you've got is you're going into plastic, going through plastic, holding the base of the motor in, and it's machine thread, and this particular one has a little bit of oxidation on it. So this one here, it really, really wanted to strip that, so I had to swap it over and give it a few taps and swap over the screwdriver, get one that was really, really tight fit, give it a few taps with a hammer just to loosen up the thread, and even then I nearly lost it. I nearly stripped it out. Managed to keep it in one piece without burring it all out. Now I've got the other 3 to go. Okay, I finally got the remaining 3 off. Went to pull the motor body out, and the stator came off and left the rotor arm in there. And guess what? It's neither copper or aluminium. It is a magnet. Okay, so it is what you call a permanent magnet motor or brushless. So yeah, that one threw me a bit. But hey, it might still be worth keeping in one piece, and I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, there's not a heck of a lot of copper if you're only just going to go onto the rotor, or armature. What was it? Oh, Dave. Ooh, I'm using words I'm not 100% sure of now. But yeah, basically, if you're looking at the just that's not a lot of copper per se. It was copper going to the motor, that big wire. I did end up cutting it. I probably shouldn't have, but hey, I was intent on getting it actually get done. Now I've got to knock the bearing one way or another to get that out. So it's not a 608. What is it? Alright, let's have a look. Should have cleaned it up before I pressed record. Alright, let's see if we can get that in view. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to clean that all up and get back to you. Okay, I'm definitely off my game tonight, folks. That was indeed a 608 bearing. I got that one wrong as well. So that's 2 mistakes in one teardown. Wow, okay. Now, one thing I thought was, okay, well, it's definitely not a 608 on the other end of the armature, or spindle, what are we going to call it? the rotor. Okay, so thought, yep, no, it's not a 608, but no, it's a 6. It's not. Oh, I think it was a 6002, but it's not actually on the rotor. It's actually in a little gearbox encased in there. So there may actually be another 608 on the end of that, but yeah. So this one, yeah, 6002. Okay. All right, now got to work out how to pull that apart. Okay, guys, nearly there. The gearing, while it is nice steel, it's very, very well made. It's nicely balanced. Everything's really, really smooth. It is encased basically it requires aluminium. Hang on, I just checked that. Yep, aluminium to secure it, and then aluminium onto aluminium again. So it wouldn't take much if you like had a few mishits with this on, say, maybe hitting nails in timber or whatever. It wouldn't take much rough treatment for this to yeah, get a bit of wobble, bit of problems with the gearing and the bearings with the motor. So yeah, definitely light duty. Okay, so at the end of that, there's 4 bearings. We've got the 608, which surprised me, but there we go. Then we got the 6200 on that one. Then on the gears, on the actual gearing, we've got a 6002, and then we have not a ball bearing but a needle bearing, because instead of having balls it's got needles. And that down there, very hard to make out, is a 0910. Not 100% sure how to read those. I used to know how to read the bearings to do with the external and internal diameters of them, but the needle bearings, I think they're a little bit different. All right, so now I've just got to somehow get that off, and then what I'll do is I'll weigh up the last remaining aluminium casing and give you a total, yeah, basically a total weight on the aluminium. All right, well, I went and outsmarted myself again. I thought I was nice and clever getting the drift, but to get all this out the punch. But guess what? Yeah, there's 2 little tiny grub screws there which I overlooked in my haste to get this finished off. Okay, so those are 2mm 2mm Allen keys, and yeah, you highly advise you pull them out before you go to all that work of trying to get that out, get the pin out, and then hopefully, yep, that just pops straight out. All right, oh, that's just plastic and a metal spring. All right, cool, so that's done. Now I can just get a few bits and pieces off and then weigh it. All right, guys, just to summarize it all up, yeah, a little bit disappointing in when it comes to copper. However, there's quite a few parts in there which are, yeah, Ryobi parts, and I might see if I might keep them for trading, put it that way. There was 1.2 kilograms of, bit over 1.2 kilograms of aluminium in that last little bit. So therefore, all up, base and arm was 3.7, a smidgen over 3.7 kilos. So not bad for one item, but yeah, not much else in there. I mean, the bearings, I'll just go over them again. There was a 608, 6002, a 6200, and then the needle bearing was a 0910, I think, from memory. All right. Now, one thing I did forget to cover is the fact that a lot of the screws had blue glue on them, thread glue, like a Loctite or something similar. And yeah, but that made it a little bit tricky to get some of them off, especially when you got machine thread screw with Loctite or similar going into aluminium. That was a bit tricky. And once again, be careful of sawdust. Yeah, that's a bit of an unknown one. Most people don't actually know about that, and that's a bit of a shame because it should be, you know, it should be all over the TVs as a warning. All right, okay. All right, guys, signing off for now, and catch you next time.